It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a bottle of Carib Lager to show you. Now this brewery, Carib Brewery, from Trinidad and Tobago. They own 4 breweries, one in California in America. This beer is coming in at 5% ABV. Nice bottle cap, clear glass bottle, just to advertise the liquid inside. This is a marketing thing to say, hey, look at me, I'm really cold, I'm really kind of fresh, and yeah, come and drink me. Of course, when you go on holiday to the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, you've got Banks. There's a brewery called Banks Brewery, Banks Lager, and Carib, and there's another one as well, which I know of, I've reviewed previously. This I picked up in home baggings for £1. Let's get it out into a glass and see what we get. I'm using my Cloudwater Lager mug today. Good bit of smoke on the bottle opening. Beer in the glass. So it's one of those situations really where it's probably a case of, like we have here with San Miguel. I know it's a Filipino beer, but it's very, very fondly taken up in Spain, isn't it? So where the Europeans travel to Spain on holiday, drink a lot of San Miguel. We now have a lot of San Miguel in the UK, and I can imagine the Caribbean, America, a lot of Americans go down to the Caribbean on holiday, and they probably drink this and they're probably thinking, hey, do you know what, I'd like to drink this back in California. Hence, they've opened a California brewery, and it makes complete sense, doesn't it? It makes absolute complete sense. So, beer in the glass. Small levels of carbonation rising up the glass. A very, very thin head that dissipated very quickly, and it's a light golden liquid here in the glass. So let's get the aroma. Yeah, it's light. Smells a little bit like corn. Smells a little bit like maize, maybe. Maize, corn, that sort of thing. Maybe some rice. It hasn't got that kind of like big... I like an all malt lager. I like a German or a Czech all malt lager. It doesn't have that kind of striking malt aroma as a German or a Czech lager has. This is more kind of like, as I just mentioned, maybe some corn or maize, which makes the beer very crisp, by the way. Let's dive into this one then. Cheers, everybody. And you can probably see why I'm drinking this beer on we had a nice morning, but it's a drab, cloudy, traditional British day today where it's not overly warm. It's just there, you know? But I can fully understand, I can fully picture being boiling hot, enjoying a liquid like this in the Caribbean. I've had conversations with people but let's get to the flavours first, and then we'll talk about kind of situations where you might drink a beer. So flavour wise, it's a little carbonated. You can feel that carbonation pushing the beer on the inside of the mouth, releasing more of that flavour. It's light, grainy, sweet, with a little bit of bitterness on the back end. You get a little bit of a hop kind of flavour coming through on the back end, but it's not kind of like a rip roaring. It's nicely balanced. It's nicely balanced. There's a little bit of bitterness on the back end. There's a little stinging nettle, like it's a little bit spicy, a little bit peppery, and it starts off quite sweet, to be honest. And before I get into my story oh, there we go. The ingredients are water, malted barley, glucose syrup, there we go, hop extract, and it says contains barley. Of course it does, malted barley. So malted barley and glucose syrup. Now, I've brewed collaborations with larger breweries, and I've asked head brewers the question, why do you use, it was quoted to me that it's brewing syrup. Why are you using brewing syrup? And it's just a case of, it's a bit like when you're making home brew and you bang some sugar in your home brew. It's just a cheaper way of getting the yeast to eat that sugar and turn it into alcohol. It's just a cheaper way of doing it. But you can taste it in the beer. Definitely get that kind of glucose syrup sweetness coming through. Not a massive fan of it, personally. But it starts off hissy fizzy, carbonated on the tongue, followed by sweetness, followed by, I mean, I called it corn and rice, didn't I? Corn, maybe maize. It's that kind of like, that cheaper way of brewing a beer. But saying that, and I've been sat in a room with a load of beer writers and in Barcelona, and we all talked about like some of these mass-produced beers where I know one of them went on his honeymoon, and he went on his honeymoon, had a great time with his wife, but he said the first beer of the night, remember it being boiling hot, they just put their suitcases down in their room and they went down to the bar and they had a cold, I can't remember what it was, it might have been San Miguel or something like that. And he said, in most circumstances, I wouldn't really bother with San Miguel, certainly not drinking it in the UK. But he said in that moment, rushing your cases up to your room, coming back down, hot, sweaty, want a beer, travelling for hours and hours and hours. He said in that moment when he had that glass of San Miguel in his hand, it was perfect. And I think this is where this style of beer fits in. This style of beer fits into that kind of hot country, enjoying the weather, enjoying the atmosphere, enjoying some food, cheap, cold lager. It has its place. We can all argue against it, but it does have its place. So my rating for Carib Lager, I'm reviewing it, as I said, and rating it in a cold, drab, cloudy morning in South Wales. It's okay, it's a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box, subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews, give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom, cheers.